I've got something different for you. A brand new, well, it's not brand new, but it's a totally different kind of guitar. That is, it works on a totally different principle. It does not have magnetic pickups, doesn't have piezo pickups. In fact, it doesn't have any pickups. It picks up the signal right off the string because the string is in a magnetic field, and then amplifies it inside the guitar. Completely different operating principle. Does it work? Let's find out. Okay, I want to show you the details. This is a very unusual guitar. You can see there are wires, one going to each string. And those wires go inside here where it has one amplifier for each string. And the amplifiers are in pairs, and this is the secret of success with this. The amplifiers are in pairs because they must buck. If they don't buck, it hums like crazy. It just hums unbearably. So you must buck out the hum. Now, you will also notice that when I play a high note, it's just as strong as the bottom notes. And I'll tell you why. This is a generator. It's got a magnetic field, and so this is the area of action. And the rest of the strings don't count electrically. But what's happening here is I have a magnetic field, and I have here an armature, a moving piece of wire. And it's connected to an amplifier at this end, and it's connected to ground at that end. See, they're all tied together. All the strings are tied together there. And it's got a ground wire going right down the back of the neck. Goes right down there into where the amplifiers are. And that's common. And if If you don't ground it at that end, it's bad because it would change when you hit a note. So here's the speaking length, and this is the the length of the magnetic field is where the action is. And so the moving wire in the magnetic field makes a current, and the current's picked up by the amplifier, and that's all it's got. That's it. Now, when I first did it, I wanted to know, does this work? And I just happened to have a guitar with no strings on it sitting around. So I put one string on it, and I stuck a magnet in there under the strings, and then I needed to try to get an output off that string, and I knew it was going to be terribly low impedance, and the only transformer I could lay my hands on that day was a twin reverb transformer. So I hooked up the secondary speaker output to the string, and I hooked up the high impedance primary to an amplifier and just plugged it in. It hummed so bad, but I could get a tiny signal by going like that. And that means every time you play your regular guitar, you are electrocuting yourself because you're touching the strings and the wire's moving in the magnetic field, and that creates a current. But it's a very small, it's very, very low voltage, obviously. So that makes a real problem for picking it up. And so what? So I had a real problem. This is his third set of amplifiers. And then I was going to do a really clever one. I was going to skip the transformer and do a common bass. And it was going to be just great, but I dropped the idea because a patent search turned up that MIT, two guys at MIT had patented this thing in 1978. Nobody ever heard about it. Now, in 78, I knew people who were getting Guitar Player magazine and all that. They never heard about it. Nobody ever heard about it. So they have one. I know they have one because their description of how it worked, it had some key pieces in the little transformers I used. They had them. They obviously built one, and it's sitting in somebody's closet. So I don't know if it works or not. Mine certainly does. Probably better than theirs. I'll put mine up against there. But theirs really had, no, theirs worked fine. Theirs had all the right stuff. Now, I did 3 months of development with mine. Now, I don't want to give anyone the idea that I'm good at math. I'm not. I always say I can follow along if it's slow enough. So, let me tell you, there's an equation for voltage for a generator. And it's the strength of the magnetic field, B, and the length of the armature wire, and the speed. You'll notice there's something that's not in the equation, and that is wire diameter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So that's a wonderful thing because, you know, with these, we always have that problem of balance. What kind of strings you use? The thin ones are going to suffer. They're never going to have that same output as the big fat ones. Well, on this they are. It's quite hollow inside here because I needed room. It's got 2 batteries. It runs on 18 volts. And you can just see right in here, a corner up. There they are. Amplifiers inside there. And, you know, I don't even remember exactly what I settled on. Like I say, this is the third set of amplifiers. I should get out my 12 string, but I won't bother. The 12 string, you hit a switch and it turns into a 6 string. That's kind of fun. But who would want that? I want something that turns the 6 string into a 12 string. Well, I don't have that. No pickups. No pickups squeal. They can't squeal. They're gone. They're missing. And pickups do not contribute to the sound because there are none. So it sounds like the guitar. Now, if I just put a good sounding neck on here, I think I just have to do that. And so I call it the dynamic guitar. dynamic because it's like a dynamic microphone, which has a moving coil. And here, the moving coil is the guitar string. Okay, it's not coiled up. It's straight. Same thing. There's something different for you.